Hoi, de podcast die je zo meteen gaat luisteren is anders dan de aflevering hiervoor. Op de eerste plaats omdat hij in het Engels is. Dat zit namelijk zo. Ik zat afgelopen zondag op Twitter rond te kijken en toen zag ik een van de mensen die ik volg, Yu-Kai Chou, een Amerikaanse expert op het gebied van gamification, die tweette: I've just landed on Schiphol Airport. En toen dacht ik in een opwelling, dit zou wel eens een leuke gast kunnen zijn voor mijn podcast. Weet je wat, ik stuur hem een berichtje. Dus ik heb hem gevraagd hoe lang dat hij in Nederland was en of ik hem zou kunnen interviewen voor mijn podcast. Nou, hij had eerst een paar vragen over die podcast en hoe mijn audience eruit zag en de onderwerpen en dat soort dingen. Nou, ik heb maar even niet verteld dat ik net was begonnen, dat de onderwerpen variëren van de nieuwste iPhone tot poepende nazi's. Maar ik heb me daar een klein beetje doorheen gebluft en toen zei hij, ik wil wel meewerken. Het enige is dat ik maar 2 dagen in Nederland ben en overdag zit ik vol met meetings en workshops. Dus het kan, ik wil meewerken, maar dan moet je naar mijn hotel komen en het kan dan 's avonds na 9 uur. Nou, ik ben ook de broertste niet, dus ik ben meteen de volgende dag 's avonds in de trein gestapt naar Amsterdam. Nou, het interview ging op zich nog best goed, vond ik zelf. Alleen, ik had tijdens het interview al in de gaten dat het niet echt top ging met het geluid. De microfoon van hem stond te hard, dus dan krijg je een soort overstuur op de microfoon. Mijn microfoon stond weer veel te zacht en ik probeerde dat nog tijdens het interview te corrigeren. Maar dat valt natuurlijk niet mee als je iemand moet interviewen in het Engels, moet luisteren, volgende vraag bedenken, ondertussen op je laptop moet kijken, etc. Dus dat was eigenlijk allemaal niet top. Dus ik dacht, ik ga maar gewoon door en dan hoop ik dat ik achteraf op de computer de geluidskwaliteit met wat kunst en vliegwerk alsnog kan fixen. Nou, ik heb gisteravond 1 uur of 1,5 besteed om alle geluidsniveaus gelijk te trekken en er zoveel mogelijk van te maken. Nou, het resultaat is dat we allebei goed verstaanbaar zijn, maar de geluidskwaliteit is niet top. Dus ik hoop dat je daar overheen wil stappen en dat je toch wil gaan luisteren naar aflevering 17, een interview met Yu-Kai Chou. Ik denk dat het een heel leuk gesprek is en ik wens je er heel veel plezier mee. Dankjewel, hoi.
Almost 40 years ago, the iconic video game of Pac-Man was created. And do you know why the inventor of Pac-Man made the characters so funny and friendly?
I have no idea.
No? Well, at that time, 40 years ago, most video games were more violent and more based for males. But they wanted to make a game that appeals to women too. So that's why they used this, for that time, unique, cute character style.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Still don't see it as a female thing, but that is a funny fact.
But that's the second thing. Do you know why the Pac-Man character has the round eating face design, like the circle with the mouth going up and down?
No.
So the inventor of Pac-Man was a Japanese guy called Toru Iwatan, and when he was thinking about games for women, he was thinking about what do women enjoy, and he thought about eating cakes and desserts, and he used eating as a keyword for research. And when researching, he saw this pizza slice with one slice taken out, so it's like a face with a mouth, and that was his eureka moment. And then he created the eating face because he thought women like eating, and this way I hope my game will appeal to women as well. It's a bit stereotype maybe, but still I find it quite...
That's a true fact.
Yeah.
The pizza inspired his and appealing to women inspired Pac-Man.
Okay, thanks. Let's start the podcast. Welcome, Yu-Kai Chou. It's an honor to have you on the podcast, Current Obsessions. Let me first introduce you to my audience. You are an international recognized authority and pioneer in the gamification and behavioral design. And based on more than 10 years of research and study, you created the gamification framework Octalysis, which was published in your book, Actionable Gamification Beyond Points, Badges and Leaderboards. Rated #1 among the Gamification Gurus Power 100 by RISE, and awarded multiple times the Gamification Guru of the Year award. and it was calculated that all of Yu-Kai Chou's work on gamification improved over 1 billion user experience worldwide through his work at clients as Microsoft, Lego, and eBay, Volkswagen, and many more. So that's quite an impressive biography, and it's nice to have you on the show. Thank you very much. Before we dive into the interesting field of gamification, I have always one question to ask for my guest, and that is, have you seen, read, or heard anything lately that is worth sharing?
Yeah, one of the big news lately is the Tesla Cybertruck that got revealed that had a shattered glass, and then apparently, and obviously everyone said that's a huge failure, and it's ugly, no one will buy it, and then now supposedly we're seeing close to 200,000 pre-orders already. So I think what's interesting, especially in my line of work, is that a lot of people will see a product and they'll say, oh, I don't like it, so no one else will. And that's oftentimes a mistake, because just because you don't like it, doesn't mean no one else will like it and buy it. And if you're betting money on that, it's a risk. A lot of time entrepreneurs do the opposite problem, which is they think, oh, I like it a lot, so my target audience, the users must like it too, which may or may not be the case.
It was quite a surprising car. It's a very like a hate it or love it kind of thing, and I think that really is a bold move for Tesla to make, and it really built their brand in a way.
Yeah, I kind of expect a little bit like that, because he talked about it's the armored car of the future, and he has a little line that's shown, right? And I always felt it would look like the armored car in Aliens, the second one. I don't know if you remember that or seen that movie, but there is an armored car. It isn't as triangular, but it's almost like a straight like sandwich, like a rectangle. Yeah. But it does also that looking car. Yeah. And so when it came out, it was similar to what I thought, and at the beginning, it still felt like, I can't tell if it looks good or bad, but later on, this is a lot of people who feel like it grows on them. I feel like it would be really badass just driving that car on the street and just parking it in front of my house.
And it's really big. I saw the small video with the Ford F-150, which is quite a big car, but next to the Cybertruck, it's like a normal grocery car or something.
Yes, I am literally thinking about buying a new house just so I can have that truck and have it in front of the house. Literally, like this is not a wishful think. This is a plan. I mean, maybe some things will happen. I don't execute the plan, but this is a plan right now.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. Let's get back to gamification, your field of expertise. Can you tell us a bit about how it's all started? Because you studied economics, but it's not a really specified direction for gamification, so it must have sparked somewhere else.
Yeah, so actually my dip and obsession in gamification started before my undergrad years. So it was more of my junior year when I was 16 in high school, where I played a great bunch of Diablo 2. And at one point I decided that I want to quit the game. And then I felt extremely empty, because I've spent thousands of hours building a stronger character, giving him gear, getting gold, upgrading, all that stuff. And then when I quit the game, I suddenly have nothing. All my stuff disappears, my life just disappears. And I just thought, well, wouldn't it be better if I spent those thousands of hours instead of learning a new language or playing the violin, I would actually become high level in my real life, not just in a game. So then I became obsessed with two topics. One was how to make a game or play a game where the more hours you spend on it, the better your real life is. And the second was how do you make real life in general more fun. And so when I got into my university, I went to UCLA. My first year, I started my first business, and I continued to do gamification stuff. So even though my major was international economics at UCLA, my expertise is mainly from just starting my companies and playing a lot of games, starting my companies and failing and trying and failing and learning, and eventually got to a place where I thought things worked out quite well.
Yeah, very nice. And you also say in one of your talks, gamification can make the world a better place. Can you explain a bit why do you think that?
Okay, so currently in the world, people have a mindset of two different sides. One are the things that you should do and you may not enjoy it, but if you do it, it's good for your life in the world. Like working, exercising, protecting the environment, things like that. But most people feel like they have to do this. It's not enjoyable. They do it. And once they do the parts that they have to do, then they can go to the other side, which is the things they enjoy doing. You know, watching show, TV, YouTube, or playing games. And I believe there doesn't necessarily need to be this separation. I believe if you understand how to gamify your life better and understand how to gamify different environments, then everything that you should be doing are things that you actually enjoy doing. So you actually look forward to them. So in its essence, because you're just playing your entire life, and as you play, the world becomes better because you become healthier, you're having closer relation with your family, you are more financially stable. I believe the world is not only more productive, which means it's better, but people are happier in that world. So I think it makes the world a better place.
So I was thinking before, like, is gamification the right term? And at first I thought not, because it's about human motivation. But later on I thought, well, it is the right term because it's about fun. And if you only make it about motivation, then it's always to be more productive or to reach a certain goal. But you said in your book the purpose of a game is just the game itself. It's just the fun. So I think that's the way you still like the term gamification, or am I wrong?
I think the term gamification, a lot of experts don't really like the term per se. Some people prefer to call it gameful design, game-based thinking. I like human-focused design as opposed to function-focused design. So it's designed to optimize over motivation and human feelings over just efficiency. And I think but gamification is the term that everyone came under. That's the umbrella. And the reason is because, you know, the term gamification is a blessing and a curse. It's a curse because it's imprecise. Very few people understand what it means, because to gamify something is to make more like a game-like, right? Gamify. And so the questions are, well, what does it mean to make more like a game? Does it mean it needs to have animation? Does it mean to have controllers? Does it mean to have competition? Well, everyone has their own interpretation. But the blessing is that because it's kind of vague, a lot of people just imagine it to be something great and fun and amazing in terms of their connotation. Like, oh, well, I love games, so gamification is so interesting. And I think that's just what the industry built upon. Like, people just gathered with this term. And I would say that gamification, some designs, even some game designs, aren't really about fun. It's, we talk about sometimes there's black hat motivation design, where people are just obsessed with doing something, but they're not actually having fun. They're just really drawn into, let's say, going back every 5 hours to harvest your crops, or doing something. If they're,
it's not a positive stimulation.
Yeah, they feel like, because if they don't go back, the crops will die, right? And so they're drawn to it. They can't control them. They're sucked into it. But when you don't have those white hat motivation anymore, you don't have fun. You just do the behavior. Similarly, some gambling addiction has that issue too. Like, if you ask a person addicted to gambling, like, are you actually having fun? Is this actually enjoyable? They might say no, but I can't stop myself from doing it, right? And usually when you quit those experiences, you're actually more relieved and happier.
Yeah. So I think that is a good bridge to your framework, because we were talking about gamification and the word gamification, and that people don't understand it quite right. So your statement is gamification is about 8 core beliefs in what people do, what drives them. Can you explain a bit more about the framework?
Sure. So what I'm most known for is creating this thing called the Octalysis framework, and it's called Octalysis because it's a combination between octagon and analysis. And it basically breaks down all human motivation into 8 core drives. So the unique thing is that everything we do inside or outside of a game is based on one or more of these 8 core drives, which means that if there's none of those 8 core drives, there's zero motivation and no behavior happens. And out of those 8 core drives, there are different natures to them. There's what we call white hat motivation versus black hat motivation. So white hat core drives make people feel powerful, they feel in control, they feel good, but there's no sense of urgency, so people procrastinate. The black hat core drives make people feel urgent, obsessed, even addicted, But in the long run, if that was the only motivation, leaves a bad taste in their mouths because they feel like they're not in control of their own behavior. And then we have what we call intrinsic motivation, extrinsic motivation core drives, where one of the extrinsic motivation core drives, you basically do something for a reward purpose or a goal, but you don't necessarily enjoy the activity itself. So once you obtain the reward, you hit your goals or get used to the reward, you stop doing that activity. Whereas intrinsic motivation design are things that we just enjoy doing so much that we're even willing to spend money to experience. And even if we know we'll lose all our progress the next day, we would still want to do those fun activities today, because that's how we measure our quality of life. How much time are we spending on the things we just enjoy doing? So a lot of my work is not only to help companies create motivation and behavior, but also understand the nature of the behavior. Is it long-term? Is it short-term? Is it intrinsic, extrinsic? So that, I wrote a 500-page book about it, so there's a lot more detail, but this is a super high-level summary of it.
And if you look at these core drives, does a good gamification experience always needs multiple Discord drives to be appealed, or is it also possible if there is just like one really strong one, or is it always a combination?
Yeah, you only need one very strong core drive to drive behavior. I would say most of the time, being very strong, all 8 of them is very, very difficult enough, if not impossible. And so most projects we see that they'll try to focus on 2 or 4 core drives that are very strong, and the others are medium. But the nice thing is that when you have very little of a core drive, it's easy to, let's say, add a little bit of unpredictability, a little bit of social influence. But when it's already very, very strong, it require a lot more good design, thinking analysis, A/B testing to push it out even more.
Okay. And like you wrote this book, developed the framework, and you're also doing a lot of talks and doing work for clients. What is it, mostly digital experience or offline experience? What do companies consult you the most for?
I think more digital than analog solutions, and I think primarily because companies, first of all, they think gamification is game, and games are, when they think game, they think a lot of digital games. So they feel like we would help out on the digital side. And I also think usually the companies, they're all trying to do digitization anyway. So when they want to move into the more innovation grounds and they want to do gamification, usually they're also seeking a technology solution. So I think it's way more common.
Yeah. And can you always help them out? Because there is companies are trying to reach a goal and they feel like gamification could be a solution towards that goal, but it can be difficult to motivate or engage people to do something about boring subjects of retirement or finance or something. But how do you deal with that?
I mean, if you think about games themselves, most of them require repetitive actions anyway. Like Candy Crush is throwing out a bird, throwing out a bird, throwing out a bird. Or Candy Crush is actually matching 3 gems multiple times. And Angry Birds is throwing out a bird, right? And matching 3 gems. So it's just very repetitive. We call that this activity loop, right? Street Fighter or anything, it's just basically doing the same things over and over and over and over for thousands of times. And so it's the context that makes a difference in terms of what you're doing, why you're doing it. Is there strategy involved? If it's social, if there's little unpredictable, delightful moments. And so what we do is we absorb those things that create engagement, delight into boring activities such as SEC compliance training for financial firms. To make one of our clients is the largest steel manufacturer in the world, and our goal is to reduce injuries, make it more safe. And by making reporting hazards and removing hazards more fun and exciting. So yeah, I think there's a lot of things we can do to improve things. Is it going to be as good as the best-selling game out there? Probably not. But of course, it has a good purpose to it, right? So we know we should do it, and now we enjoy doing it.
Yeah. Okay. And what do you think is the most important skill set for a person to have if you want to go on in a career of gamification?
I think it requires a lot of different skills. Interestingly, I just made a skill tree for my own company, and there's I think 14 trees. Each tree has maybe 17 skills on it.
Okay.
And it's just things I noticed that you need this to do well, at least working at the Octalysis group. And we have a pretty high standard. But I think if you wanted to sum up all of it into one of the most fundamental skills, I would say probably empathy, like being able to feel how other people feel and if this is exciting or not. I think that's probably the most crucial skill to do well on this in this industry.
To really look at something from the perspective of the other person that is using or enjoying the product or experience.
Yeah, the ability to feel feelings.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. What do you feel about the ethical side of gamification? Because it's at what point becomes motivation manipulation?
Yeah, so some people do ask if gamification is a mild form of manipulation, and the straight answer is yes. But the thing is that everything around us, I would say that's manipulation, and we not only accept it, we actually expect it.
Yeah.
So, for instance, saying please and thank you, that's a mild form of manipulation, right? You were not going to do something for me, and I said please, and then you end up doing it for me, right? And nothing about the transaction changed, except I was just more sincere and I applied Core Drive 5 social influence relatedness. And saying thank you is like an emotional reward, and it increases the likelihood of someone doing that favor for you again, right? And so that's, in definition, a form of manipulation, but no one really has a problem with people saying please and thank you. In fact, they're expected. So from our standpoint, the guidelines we follow from an ethical standpoint is, I think there's two principles. Number one is opt-in. And opt-in means you agree to be pitched or influenced. It doesn't mean you agree to do the activity, but you agree to hear the pitch, in a sense. So let's say you have a very charismatic friend who's trying to get you to a party, right? You opt in to agree that, okay, you can try to convince me, right? Pitch me, right? You don't have to agree to go, but at least you're listening to it, right? And then number two is transparency. So you know what the gamified experience is trying to get you to do. So it's like if your friend is actually trying to get you to do drugs, but telling you it's just a party, then there's no transparency, and that would be unethical.
So then it would be lying.
Yeah. So if I know I agree you can try to convince me, and I know it for sure you're just taking me to a party, I think that's fair game. So one example, right, is the hypnosis industry. Hypnosis, supposedly it's full manipulation, like full compliance, right? But most people are okay with it because number one, there's opt-in. I agree you can hypnotize me, and two, hopefully there's transparency. Like I know what you're trying to do with me instead of making me do silly things on the stage, right? And so with those things in line, most people are okay with that principle.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, interesting. When you look at big social media platforms, they're all trying to influence, get your eyeballs, but also to bring you pleasure, fun, everything. Of the bigger platforms, what platforms do you think are the best at the gamification experience, like Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram? How do you look at that platform?
If we're going back to, let's say, the broader definition of human-focused design, which is really about harnessing those 8 core drives and creating an engaging experience, I think probably Facebook still does the best with the short feedback loops, and basically you upload photo, immediately it makes it easy to give you likes, so those are the rewards. So I've had friends who said if they don't think a Facebook photo will get more than 10 likes, they just don't upload it. So to them, that's a game. And going onto the Facebook feed, that's like Core Drive 7 unpredictable curiosity. Scientists have shown that it's like pulling a slot machine bar to see if they win something nice. And so people's brains are trained to pull again if they don't find anything interesting. And so I think that social intrinsic experience has become obviously very, very successful. Now, what it does lack is what we call Core Drive 1 epic meaning and calling, which means that people don't feel like they're going onto it for a bigger cause or something that makes the world better. And so over the years, even before all their controversy, I had plenty of friends who either wanted to disable their Facebook account, and it's not because they didn't like Facebook anymore. It's because they liked it so much that they feel like they're wasting their time. And I feel like so it's doing its job really well. Except because there's no higher meaning and purpose in using it. People just feel like I don't want to use it as much.
Yeah. If you compare that to like Twitter or Instagram, what does Facebook then do better in your opinion?
Yeah, I think Facebook does better in a few things. I think part of it is just the community, because on Twitter it's one way, right? Which has an advantage, right? That everyone has their niche. Having a one-way follow system means that followers become more meaningful, and you're trying to work hard to improve the stats. So that's when people start adding their Twitter handles on their business card and emails because they're trying to gain followers, right? But the thing with Twitter is that most people you connect with, you're not real-life friends with them, right? You're not connecting on a more intimate basis. It's a lot more text-based. And I think Facebook, these are people, a good amount of them are people you know in real life. You care about their daily habits, and then you kind of compare yourself to these people more often.
Yeah.
A lot less people compare themselves to who they follow on Twitter, and usually that Twitter is like the celebrities or their idols. So it's like, of course, you don't compare, you just kind of follow. So there's a bit of that two-way social cycle on Facebook, as opposed to more of a one-way. Someone broadcasts to you and you broadcast to someone else. Yeah. Sometimes you respond to that person and that person just never responds. Maybe they respond once, like, "Oh, I'm so happy," right? But it isn't as much of a coming back and constantly creating that loop kind of system. And it also means that majority of the users actually just don't have that many followers. No. Right? On Facebook, you always have your friends, but Twitter, like majority people tweet and no one cares. For Instagram, I think it actually adds what we call core drive 6 scarcity and patience to the system. So it's they say we'll destroy your messages, right? And it's a bit more funky, and there's the way you swipe around. It's a bit more. It changes a lot. And so I think it appeals to, again, a younger generation, which we know, because the younger generation are more connected to that core drive to unpredictability and curiosity, where they like things that change a lot, and that scarcity and impatience where the message disappears, because they grew up thinking that like everything's monitored, there's no privacy, everything's recorded. So suddenly when the message will just be destroyed, that's suddenly more scarce, it's more valuable. Right, and so they have a bit more of that black hat excitement edge, but I think, as you probably know, people, even the older Gen Ys, right, they feel like or Snapchat is a little bit too weird or hard to manage or crazy or funky, right, and so
Instagram took over.
Yeah, so Instagram kind of is a good balance between both grounds, right? It has some of the nice thing about Facebook. And Snapchat, so it obviously is doing very well. Okay,
we're almost at the end of the episode. I want to close off with a look in the future of gamification. Obviously, it's based on human behavior, so that does not change very much. But I was curious, who does inspire you now in terms of authors, speakers, business leaders in the field of marketing, or anything related to human or influence?
It's hard to say. I mean, there's people's work I study in the field of behavioral design, like B.J. Fogg, Robert Cialdini's work is great. Daniel Kahneman, Thinking Fast and Slow. I would say if I had a person I really look up to, I think it is Elon Musk. And what I like about him is not just his products or business, but his motivation of that epic meaning and calling. Because most business people look at what's the best business opportunity and they start a business. Elon Musk thinks about what does the human race need. So when you read his bio, you'll see that when he was younger, he tried to figure out what he wanted to do, and he realized he doesn't understand the meaning of life. And he feels like human beings don't have the capacity to figure out the meaning of life. But he felt maybe 40,000 years later, humans will be smart enough to figure it out, right? Because we've advanced so much in 100 years, so we cannot even fathom what humans would be like even 1,000 years later. So he sees his job as maximizing the probability that humans can survive for that long. So the business he created when he started, they're all crazy, they all seem stupid, and Like he's just insane, but he feels like that's his mission, and he needs to create it anyway. So I think even though I personally don't care about Mars and going to Mars, I respect him for taking such huge risks for what he believes in and succeeding at them. Not Mars yet, but the other dreams. So I feel like he.
And it's also way beyond our normal view of business people who are trying to set up a company and make money, but he's taking it to the very next level.
Yeah, his never failed a business before. Even his first company, Zip2, that no one's heard about, made $200 million.
Yeah.
And then PayPal. And so right now, like in the future, like he is doing this thing. More people are building electric cars, and I think even if a car that comes out that's a little better than a Tesla, I would probably still buy the Tesla because other companies are like, oh, this is a proven model. Let's just make it a little better and make money from it, right? And I feel like the pioneer who risked everything to make this happen
from the mission.
Yes, so I respect that more. And from a mission-driven point, I'd rather buy a slightly weaker product, but rewarding the individuals who took such great risks for a purpose.
So that's what you call the great meaning.
Yeah, that's Core Drive 1 epic meaning and calling.
So I think that's a nice round story to end with this gamification term. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope you enjoy Amsterdam and the Netherlands in the next few days. And thank you very much.
Thank you.